Film review, Simon of the Mountain, directed by Federico Luis. Reviewed by Navid Nikkhah Azad. The debut feature film by Argentine filmmaker Federico Luis, titled Simon of the Mountain, premiered today at the 63rd edition of the Critics' Week, La Semaine de la Critique, a parallel section of the Cannes Film Festival. It's a powerful, intricate, and surprising work. The natural performances in the film rival those of cinema stars, demonstrating the director's ability to guide real individuals in their roles. Federico Luis delves into themes such as identity, communication, love, and acceptance, presenting a complex and compelling work that captivates audiences. In Simon of the Mountain, Simon is 21 years old. He introduces himself as a mover's helper. He claims not to know how to cook or clean the bathroom, but he does know how to make a bed. Recently, he seems to have become a different person. The film begins with a scene in a mountainous area where Simon, Lorenzo Ferro, stands facing Pehuen Pedre, who questions him in the role of a psychologist tasked with determining Simon's mental disability and providing him with certificate of disability. Throughout the film, we realize this is an exercise between Simon and Pehuen, where Simon manipulates the psychologist to convince him that he has a mental disability, so he can join a community of mentally disabled individuals and live among them. In the opening minutes, the film's protagonist grapples with issues of identity and acceptance in the society he believes he belongs to. Later on, we witness a striking scene where a strong wind picks up, dust fills the air, Simon, Pehuen, and other mentally disabled individuals struggle to weather the storm, feeling lost and waiting to be found, their mobile phones without signal, cut off from the world. Here, the most significant keyword Federico Luis presents in his film is communication. One of the subtle points in the screenplay, especially in choosing the name Simon for the main character, is that the name Simon comes from Hebrew and means listen or hearing. Director Federico Luis repeatedly references Simon's interest in listening and hearing throughout the film. Simon has no problem hearing and distinguishing sounds, but when one of the girls gives him a hearing aid, he accepts it, and in many scenes of the film, he wears the hearing aid, even at the cost of hearing sounds with less clarity, more intensity, and more noise. A prominent characteristic we see in Simon is his interest in establishing communication and connection with his surroundings. We see this throughout the film. For example, in a scene at the pool where he and a girl splash around, bubbles form and make sounds, in a way, he's engaging in communication. Or even when he tries to eavesdrop using his hearing aid, hearing sounds others cannot hear. Communication as a thematic motif recurs at various levels and in various forms throughout the film. When Simon's mother brings him back home and doesn't understand why he's labeling himself as mentally disabled, we notice his different behavior at home. We come to a dual understanding of Simon, the Simon of the Mountain we first saw in the mountainous area, and a different Simon after being reluctantly returned home. One Simon identifies with mentally disabled individuals and their environment, while another disidentifies with his mother, her boyfriend, and their world. Upon his return home, we realize that Simon rebels against the principle, his roots, his parent, and the world he grew up in. One of Simon's major concerns is the issue of acceptance. He, as he truly is not accepted at home by his mother, and we sense his mother's denial towards him. He seeks acceptance more than anything by entering the environment of mentally disabled individuals. He tries not to behave in a way that would alienate him from that environment, to be considered as a member of his own community. He becomes a people pleaser in some scenes of the film, which can help his acceptance in this small community. Simon strongly emphasizes in the film that he is not acting and is just like other mentally disabled individuals. This is used against him in one scene. Colo, a mentally disabled girl, blackmails him that if Simon doesn't make love to her, she will tell everyone that he is not mentally disabled and is just pretending. Simon leaves the place to show that he does not pretend to be mentally disabled. One of the impactful scenes of the film is the altercation between Simon and his mother's boyfriend, Augustine, in the final quarter of the film, which escalates to extreme violence. Issues of acceptance, identity crisis, and the behavior he has absorbed from his environment, and his suppressed reaction to it, now manifest in the form of extreme violence. What exacerbates Simon's violence and makes him more aggressive is that Augustine is filming his violence. The fear of not being certified as disabled drives Simon to the brink of madness. He fears Augustine might use this video against him, portraying him not as mentally disabled but rather as a violent psychopath. The final scene of Simon of the Mountain depicts Simon, as he practiced in the opening scene with Pehuen, facing a licensed psychologist who tests him to determine whether he qualifies for a certificate of disability, a symbol of Simon's identity, or not. The doctor emphasizes that Simon must tell the truth in response to her questions. The audience is left to discern whether Simon, based on his portrayal throughout the film, is manipulating his own reality, the psychologist, or neither.